Hey, welcome back. You gotta walk down the Gnostic road. Let's get it, let's go. My guy Alex Connor, I like him a lot. Let's get it, let's go.
Do you think I could then sit here and say what your experience is not true? And I
absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I could pick it apart and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So this is the thing that
Is there any value in that?
For what?
For me doing that to you.
Of course there's value. For you, if you want to pick me apart, if you want to continue to live the life that you live, if you want to continue to get 5 out of 10 meaning, because you've accomplished a lot. You have a lot of stuff. I mean, so many videos that you have left, so many people that you help, millions of people across the globe.
Right. I say this because that's what's happening here.
What?
That Alex is picking apart.
Fine. So I have no problem with picking things apart. If you want to pick things apart, pick things apart. But be very clear about what picking things apart does.
What does it do?
So it's a great question. I have a different way of answering it.
Okay.
So when I listen to philosophers, like these guys were just in it about evil, and if evil was created when Eve ate the apple, was she evil when she made the apple, right? It's so great. They're just picking things apart. So it's so interesting because as a psychiatrist, my training is actually the exact opposite. What I've trained myself to do is to twist and turn in mental gymnastics to understand somebody else's view. When a patient walks into my office and they say, I'm suicidal, I don't want to pick their view apart. No, you have so much to live for, it doesn't work. I try to understand them. So there is value to picking things apart in terms of political debate, in terms of you're arguing with your wife whether you should buy a car or lease a car. There are all kinds of values to picking things apart. But the question is, what do you want? Now, I think if you take Alex's road, which I think is going to change real quick if it hasn't.
Why?
Sorry, guys.
Crazy idea. We were surprised.
Truly apologize for this. I gotta get that ad blocker on this account.
Be honest.
I think he's going to go down the road of Gnosis if he isn't already.
Gnosis.
Gnostic.
What is Gnosis?
Knowledge.
Alex?
Gnosis is a Greek term. Gnosis means knowledge, but it's attached to, I guess, an ancient school of philosophy which believes that truth is obtained from looking inward.
Do you mean narcissism?
No, not narcissism. So I think if you want to, Alex, it's not a philosophy, it's a practice.
But what do you mean when you...
Okay, so like, I'm going to keep listening, but where is he going with this, right? Wouldn't it be a good thing to question the concepts that are written within religious practices? That way we have a more powerful understanding. He's questioning people. They're both the same thing to some degree. Philosophers and psychologists walk hand in hand. The only difference is philosophers are challenging all of the philosophical concepts that exist amongst the world. But to some degree, psychology is philosophical too. To some degree, because yes, we can understand how certain things work and we can explain it, but it seems as though a lot of the psychological things that we've came up with, like psychopath, narcissism, sociopathic behavior, seems to live in all of us in some way. So how do you really determine what a person really is 100%? Now that would take me going down another different kind of conversation in psychology. But again, I'm a person who's read hundreds of psychology books and philosophy books, so I can't really say that I'm an expert in any of it. But I've read a lot to understand exactly what he's trying to say. But let's keep watching because I'm a little confused.
You say, Stephen asked, you said, I'm going to go down there.
Yeah, I think you got to walk down the Gnostic road.
But would you tell us what you didn't just say that, you said you thought I was going to do that. What does it mean?
That I think you're going to do that? Or the path of
What
Gnosis?
is the thing that you think I'm going to...
Yeah, I think you're going to have to start practicing Gnostic stuff.
What's Gnostic
What
stuff?
does that mean?
So Thunder Perfect Mind is a series of meditations. Mm-hmm. If you look at that and you do what it tells you to do, you will understand what the Gnostics understood. You have to walk that path that they walked. But doing so does not involve the philosophy of Gnosis, right? That the part of Gnosis, I don't know what the philosophy, I mean, I get what you're saying from a philosophical perspective.
I'm going to say this for the people who doesn't understand what the Gnostics is, but I'm you know, get me on this if you want, or challenge me on this, but I do think that Gnosticism was basically, you're in the middle. You're agnostic, you're in the middle. You don't know whether you don't know whether you believe that God exists or you don't, or you don't know whether you believe in a religion or not. You're kind of on the fence. You're not atheist, but you're not also a believer. So that's agnostic, just to say that he's saying he's going down the Gnostic road. Now, Alex Connor, okay, I think he's an atheist. I've only watched so much of his content. I haven't heard him say he's an atheist. So correct me in the comments if that's what he is. But if he's an atheist, I guess this guy is trying to say that he's going to eventually go down the Gnostic road, which is not really not a believer, but not a believer. So I guess I get what he's saying.
The Gnostics were practitioners, as far as I understand. I read one Gnostic text, and I was like, "Oh, this is like a meditation instruction."
So what is it that makes you think? Why do you look at me and say that's? I mean, you've read one Gnostic text.
I have an intuition.
So, but I wonder what you mean.
It's not explainable.
But you have an intuition.
Yeah.
Based on pattern recognition.
Sure.
At an individual like Alex.
I don't know. No, not pattern recognition. This is indefensible.
Okay.
I get told a lot by a lot of different people that I'm quite clearly on a particular road. Christians very often say that it seems as though I'm on the verge of Christian conversion, and I think that's often just a result of having nice conversations with them where I don't jump down their throat and say, actually, there's some truth in this, or actually there are some good arguments for the resurrection of Jesus, or this kind of stuff, and suddenly I have people saying, he's so close.
Is that because he's
kind of annoying.
Clearly a man searching for meaning?
Something about
you don't tell us what Gnosis is. You said it's a series of practices.
That was a beautiful way to say it. He's searching for meaning, right? And he also is willing to he's not arguing all the way to try to argue every single point. He's like, okay, that makes sense. He has an understanding. He has a perspective on both sides. That's why I like listening to this man talk. This man is he's like me. You have a perspective on both sides, and you can argue both sides of the argument, and that's what they think. Yeah, I like this.
Like what? So is vegetarianism. So
I think Gnosis, from what I'm reading one text, I'm not a Gnostic expert.
Okay.
So there's a set of practices that, if you do them, have a high probabilistic chance of having a direct experience of God.
Like what?
So Om chanting is a simple example.
Right.
But there are things that you can do to increase the likelihood of having a transcendent experience of Om chanting. So, for example, if you adopt Siddhasana, so Siddhasana is a particular yoga posture where your left heel is placed against the perineum of your body. Mm-hmm. So the perineum is the taint, the area between the anus and the scrotum. Mm-hmm. So if you also do certain pranayama practices, so these will do things that induce a very, very, very low respiratory rate. And one of the things that we know about transcendental experiences is that high levels of CO2 tend to... Actually, we don't know this, but this is kind of the best hypothesis that I've read that I happen to think is true, that if we alter the neurons of our brain chemistry, we can evoke transcendental experiences. So if you look at some of these esoteric traditions, what will happen is you have all of these different practices, and as you do these practices, I think you are very clearly refining your physiology and your neurology to induce certain states. And let's remember that psychedelics don't create anything.
Yes.
Psychedelics simply activate the circuitry that is already there.
Or deactivate.
Or deactivate. Right?
But yeah, that's crucial.
So it's interesting. I have a friend that has schizophrenia. And I always tell her, I think smoking weed, the type of strength of the weed that she's smoking, I'm not saying smoking weed is a bad thing, but I think doing mushrooms and all the other stuff that she does, I think spikes it even worse, because after she does all this stuff, after she goes through her smoking and all kind of shit like that, she has moments where it's like a mental breakdown happens. And I'm wondering, they just said it heightens it, so I'm wondering if that leads to it. I could be wrong about that. Y'all tell me in the comments. But that's what it sounded like he was saying.
I'd love to understand why you think he's going to go down that path.
Imagine being able to build anything.
Let's call it intuition.
Mm-hmm. But I need something a little bit more than that. So you're saying...
Okay, so I'll give you more. So, in the system of... So, can I answer truthfully or defensively?
Truthfully.
Which ones do you guys want?
Truthfully.
Okay. So in the system of Kundalini Yoga, there are 7 chakras. So 21 years ago, almost 22, I went to a teacher who taught me the first of a Kundalini practice, which is based on the Agnya chakra. So the Agnya chakra is your third eye chakra, and it is the chakra that governs understanding. So if you want to understand things, then Agni Chakra practices are the right thing to do. So many years ago, back in a former life when I was still an academic at Harvard, I was trying to develop an evidence-based meditation program for different diagnoses. And part of what I leaned into, and initial results were good, but never really, then I started doing this. But so as one example, there's this chakra called the Muladhara chakra, which is our root chakra. So the Muladhara chakra governs our primal impulses in life. So I looked at my patients with addictions and I was like, okay, these people have a problem with impulse control and they want something and they can't restrain themselves from getting it. Okay. So I wondered, can I teach them Muladhara chakra practices to sort of basically like reduce their flow of wanting the basic things? Okay. And I found that that was efficacious. Now, meditation works for addictions. But the question is, can we do a specific meditation for a specific mental illness? So there's one study, for example, that looks at anahat or heart chakra meditation specifically for depression because it cultivates like compassion and self-love and stuff like that. And they found, it's a very small study, hopefully we'll do more research in this, but they found that the effect was superior to other forms of meditation. So hypothetically, theoretically, there are specific meditation practices which work in different ways. And I teach a lot of this stuff in Dr. K's Guided Meditation stuff. But so there are these specific practices. So I specifically did a practice based on Agni Chakra stuff, like intuition, right? So then like something weird happens, which is when I sit with people.
That's going to be beneficial.
I have intuitions about them. Now, is this real? Is this fake? Is it delusional? I don't know. You could argue that I'm just a really good psychiatrist with really good cold reading, right? But so if you want to know the real answer, like, I'm not a great psychiatrist. People think I'm so brilliant as I'm not. I'm cheating. I'm using a layer of information that I don't think most people have access to, which I know is a completely undefensible claim, except if you do Agni Chakra practices too, you will see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You think you're fine after a car accident?
Interesting enough, right? Like, interesting enough. Like, I want to make a point for him too. Like, interesting enough. Pascal's wager. Pascal's wager. I know you guys know who Pascal is. I'm bringing up Pascal's wager because I'm talking specifically about Pascal. Pascal said, if you're looking for God, you'll find him. That's really the Pascal. And the reason why I'm bringing up Pascal is because Pascal was a very intelligent man. He was a mathematician. He was very analytical. He was somebody that you wouldn't think would be a believer. But how he found God was through just believing. When you just believe, you'll get the answers. And I think that's what the guy is trying to say, because Alex Connor is going down the road of trying to find what the truth really is. And through finding the truth, you kind of accidentally do find God. So he might be right. He might be onto something. I don't know. You guys correct me in the comment section on that. But hey, I'm out, y'all. Peace.